So I saw a movie so you wouldn't have to. That's right. I went and saw The Mandalorian and Grogu. And I can say it's not the worst movie I've seen this year. I can say it's not the best movie I've seen this year. And I can say that I'm not even sure it was a Star Wars movie, which is a conversation we can certainly get into. What I can say, was a solid effort at an action movie that probably existed as a television series before it ever became a movie. And that's some of the problems that are buried within this. But it's not bad, and it's certainly not a waste of money. And yet, I probably would tell you to wait for streaming. And let's discuss that even further. Hang on, because here we go. Now, listen, I'm not going to be overtly negative here at all. I think that the opportunity for this film had passed by. I think that this should have been something that came closely on the heels of when the TV series finished, and this was supposed to be the next season, season 4 of the show. I feel like the stakes were only high in one place, which is fine. You can totally do that in a movie if you feel like something sustained is going on there. But it was predictable. The plot becomes predictable. You'll know what's going to happen next because, well, that's the way it works. They do give you a better view of what the underworld looks like in this one, and I feel like they did make good use of Grogu, despite the fact that there was very little character development or anything else there. What they did do is drag out one part of the third act for far too long, involving Grogu taking care of the Mandalorian. And it's all explained as this is the way. I think visually it's okay. I do believe they overused particle effects and grain effects to try to make this feel like it was film. It was, well, distracting. It didn't make sense that on certain planets you had a problem with that and on certain planets you didn't, but that's just my opinion. I feel like the city planet or the Shikari moon, which is where a lot of the early action happens, I felt like that was okay visually, but the companion audio there, where you have the new version of a soundtrack, is like poor use of techno. You guys will know what I'm talking about when you see it. The theme music and all of the other things that came along with the television show are back. And there is a little bit of ad there, which does work for Jorgensen or whatever the guy's name is. I think that at most locations in the film, they used music properly, except in that one location on the Shikari moon. I think that Rada the Hutt will become a fan favorite. You're going to find out why when you see the film. And I think that the twins and the backstory and everything that goes on there, the twin Hutts, I think people are going to have a harder time with that, and then understand at the very end. If you paid attention to any of the lore anywhere along the way, especially during the Book of Boba Fett, you probably have an appreciation for some of that, but I feel like it was squandered and wasted in that series as well. What I really wanted was something that was a little bit more development when it came to Grogu, if they were going to bring him back at all. And I feel like they relied too much on the cute puppets and not enough on actual storytelling for a big chunk of the movie. I can't even say a bad thing about any of the acting, because everybody that was acting did a good job, including the voice actors for Rada the Hutt and the star pilot that Mando works with. I have a feeling that that's the direction they were going to be headed all along, and I think we just got kind of a shortcut here to it in this particular film. If they pursue this same path, they will satisfy some people. Let's just be fair. Sigourney Weaver did an okay job, although she was a little overused at times. I thought it was incredibly rude to put Filoni in the film as part of the squadron of X-wings at the end of the film. There are moments that make more sense than others, but it felt like a very low stakes adventure with a lot of hyped up action scenes. There was some unnecessary action in this, and then there was some unnecessary downtime. Like you said, visually beautiful, acting okay. Pedro didn't bring the film down, and when you did have to see his face, fortunately, it wasn't for very long. Ultimately, I do believe that this will make money in the box office, which was a fear that I had going into it. Talked about it extensively in my video I dropped on Thursday. I talked a bit about it with WDW Pro in the panel on Wednesday, and I do think Star Wars can build something from this, but what is there to build on? Well, Mandalorian's only one character, and while Pedro Pascal says he'd be happy to play the character for a very long time, I don't know if the audiences necessarily agree. Plus, with no character development or depth from the Baby Yoda slash Grogu character, I think people are going to struggle. The other alien character development was excellent. The rebuilding of the Republic, I really did enjoy that part of the story. And I think that to give credit where it's due, Lorne from the Pro Show and many other places that you've seen him, I think Lorne Connor is correct. I think this is the only path they have left forward aside from using Ahsoka, who I absolutely despise. Again, it is going to feel like a bunch of TV episodes mooshed together, and you're going to feel robbed at times because the dialogue support for what's going on around the film doesn't seem to be there. And perhaps, that's Favreau letting the moments speak for the film. A lot of show don't tell. But there were times when we needed a little more. And I feel like that may be one of the few places that this fell off. It's not going to get a stellar rating from me, but it's not going to get a low one either because I have to be intellectually honest with you all. This is a 7 of 10 movie. Is it a Star Wars movie? You'll have to decide for yourself. I didn't really feel like one to me. It could have been, guy in suit of armor and, little kid in any other genre out there. You could have done a sword and sandals movie that would have serviced this story just as well. And, just put it up against big monsters and Cyclops and things. One of the best parts, though, were the monsters that were demonstrated in this. A lot of them I'm unfamiliar with outside of the books and the literature, but everything that they did kind of fit together. And I don't know if there was anything missing structurally, I missed it. I just think some of the visuals were overcooked or undercooked because there is way too much darkness in this. And that's a complaint that I've had for a long time because while that may look good on the set, especially when you're shooting in the volume, which some of this movie certainly was, but you could tell they were using practical sets as well. And thank goodness for that, because it did bring more of the activity on the sets to life. And that's where I'm going to leave this. I could go on talking about it probably for a while longer, but I don't think I could add to anything that I've said before. But I do have questions. Are you interested in seeing this film? Are you going to go to the theaters, or has Star Wars just become a washed out item for you? Is this something that you feel like you can wait for streaming? Because this certainly will be on Disney Minus. Or is this something you feel like you want to see on the biggest possible screen? Because I'm going to tell you, I actually avoided seeing it on a enormous screen with incredible sound and a ticket that I bought earlier for a later time. And I'm grateful that I went to the earlier showing and I can now cancel that particular ticket. And as I'm recording this on Thursday and you're seeing it on Friday, just understand, if you see this on the little screen, it will seem just as familiar as the show. And that's a big problem because I do believe they've diminished Star Wars down to the small screen from where it belonged on the big screen. And their only real use of what I would call a Star Wars shot, an establishing shot at that, was at the very beginning of the film. Otherwise, everything else was just kind of, well, we need this scene, and we need this scene, and we need this scene. But good news for all of you that enjoy puppeteering and for all of you that enjoy VFX, because everything here was polished and done very well. And with that, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, I saw a movie, so you didn't have to. And once again, with a 7 out of 10, this is a toss-up. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. But I probably won't see this movie again.